Why does Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola's weight continue to be an issue? We're going to look into the Huskers spring football program right now. Locked On Big Ten starts now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please hit that subscribe button. It's free. That way you'll never miss a single episode. Today's episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. So we're going to talk about this Huskers weight problem here, and Big Ten teams continue to be in action in the NCAA basketball tournament. Plus, we'll have our picks for tonight's basketball games and maybe one or two for tomorrow as well. All that coming up right here. Now, let's get into it. Every time I go on the internet, I see a story about Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola and his weight. And it's an issue. And there's an article here and a comment here. And it's kind of getting out of control a little bit. So right off the top, I'm going to say this. I've avoided talking about this for a few days. A full disclosure. My feeling is he's just a 19-year-old kid. And it feels weird talking about a kid and a weight problem or weight, whatever. It just doesn't feel right. So I haven't talked about it, but it keeps coming up. On the other hand, athletes at this level, they need to be in shape and they need to be ready to go because it can affect their performance. Therefore, it becomes fair game for conversation. Also, on the other hand, some of these stories were fueled by several comments by none other than Huskers head coach Matt Rhule. Again, now the topic becomes fair game. So what's going on here? It's also ironic when you look at this whole thing because a lot of people like to compare Raiola to superstar Patrick Mahomes due to his somewhat similar physical appearance and his style of play. And Mahomes was also criticized at times for carrying an extra pound or two. Had the dad bod frame, all that. Mahomes even joked about it in the past. And as far as I can tell, it hasn't affected Mahomes. So what's the big deal? So what's going on with Raiola? Wikipedia lists him at 6'3", 220 pounds. Huskers.com lists him at 230 pounds. Matt Rhule said a few weeks ago that Raiola cannot be great at quarterback playing at 240 pounds. Is he 240? So he said his quarterback needed to get his body composition to where he could be fleet and nimble and move in and out of the pocket, slide effectively, protect himself, convert third downs. So people started looking at Raiola. Glimpse here and there at practice. Practice video came out. The jersey started to look a little snug that we saw on the old internet. All right, fine. Now, people began parsing Rhule's words and wondering if he was sending a message to his quarterback that he needs to get in better shape as he enters his sophomore season. All this grew to such a crescendo that Rhule had to come out again this week and clarify his comments on Raiola. First, Rhule said that he thought the viral reaction of all this video and the story about Raiola and his weight was really poor. I actually agree with him. I thought the same thing too. As I said at the top, I hesitated even talking about this for days. But here we are. We're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna clarify a few things because Matt Rhule clarified a few things, and I thought that was what was newsworthy here. So Rhule said everybody should go back and listen to what he said last week. He said that Raiola knows that he cannot be great at 240 pounds. He says he never said Raiola was actually 240 pounds. He then added that Raiola has been working hard, getting in shape with his body type and all that, and admitted that Raiola is a large quarterback and he always is going to be. Rule also acknowledged that a couple of pounds can help a quarterback remain durable and take some hits. Don't want to get him too thin. Raiola threw, by the way, to wide receivers during their pro day this past week at Nebraska, and then he hurried off to class. He wasn't a part of it. He's not going pro, but he was helping out his wide receivers. Those that saw him there on that day said he looked good and he looked strong. So that might be the end of it right then and there. I will argue that a lot of this will or would go away if we could see the Huskers for ourselves in a nationally televised spring football game. Aha, but we're not going to get that. So, as most of you know, Matt Rule canceled the spring game because he did not want other teams scouting his players on TV and then stealing them in the transfer portal. He also didn't want to risk serious injury in an exhibition scrimmage. He did lose 2 players for the season in last year's spring game. Bottom line, I think Raiola's great. I think he's fun to watch. I think we just saw a tip of the little peek of what he's capable of moving forward. After all, remember, he was just a true freshman last year and started on day one. And I think the sky is the limit for this kid, and he's fun to watch. Meanwhile, spring practice is well underway, and there have been some tweaks to the Huskers' 105-man roster. Sophomore Jaden Doss, he arrived last year as a wide receiver. He was moved to defensive back. Now he's back at wide receiver. Redshirt freshman Roger Gradney, he began his career as a defensive back. He missed last season due to an injury. Now he's a linebacker. Carter Nelson was a hybrid wide receiver tight end, and now just a tight end. Redshirt freshman Connor Schutt worked all last year at tight end. Now he's a linebacker. And redshirt freshman Jordan Okoa came in the program as a defensive lineman. Now he's a linebacker. Matt Rule did address some concerns, or maybe he's not concerned. He was asked about the running back position. Not a lot of experience there for the Huskers, but he has no concerns at running back this year, he says. Emmett Johnson, Husker fans will know, he's a junior. He's rushed for 1,008 yards combined over 2 years. And he really is the only back coming back with a lot of experience. Matt Rule also likes Quentin Ives, who scored in the Pinstripe Bowl, and he expects to see some more playing time. And then Rule likes Mekhi Nelson, very explosive. So he says he feels pretty good at the running back position, something to keep on. Again, keep an eye on. But again, it'd be neat if we could watch him in a spring game, but we don't get that opportunity this year with the Huskers. The Huskers open up the season August 28th. That's a Thursday night, taking on Cincinnati at Cincinnati. Then their home opener is against Akron on September 6th. So a lot thrown at you there with the Huskers for spring football. Let me know what you think. Love to hear Huskers fans check in. And in the meantime, if you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button, please. And you'll never miss an episode of Locked On Big Ten. And don't forget, you early morning commuters, we have an audio version, audio only, on Apple and Spotify and wherever you get your podcast that comes out 2 hours earlier in the morning than this video podcast. So check that out each and every day. In the meantime, don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com. That's the number 10, talkbig10.com. And all of our podcasts go there, and you can get your favorite Nebraska Cornhusker gear, shirts, t-shirts, hats, all right there, right at your fingertips. All right, still plenty to do here. Want to talk about a lot of things with you. We're back into action with Sweet 16 basketball. Big Ten teams involved there. I want to look at that, men's and women's, by the way. And since it's the end of the week, we'll have our picks. We go on the record. That's what we always do here. That's coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. You know, we're all about stats, right? Because numbers don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. With the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry a whole team plus gear wherever you need to go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, or anything in between. right? And with room up to 8 people, their Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. So whether you're exploring off-road on the trails, maybe rolling up to the arena for the big game, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. That's nissanusa.com. And FanDuel makes the excitement of watching games in the month of March even more exciting, right? FanDuel is giving you the chance to get into the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and to even who's cutting down the nets at the end. A lot of easy thing, very easy to use on the app, and a lot of different things that you could jump into. Tournament games, jump in the middle of the game, live action if you want. But the app is really simple to use. And when you win right away. No waiting around. So go to FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action for the rest of the tournament. That's at FanDuel.com. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen every day, especially everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It's free, and you can share and follow like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And we have our website where our podcasts and your school merchandise is at talkbig10.com. Now, regarding the House settlement decision that is coming April 7th, that will forever change college athletics with revenue sharing. Penn State football coach James Franklin had some thoughts on it when he talked to the media with his press conference this week. He said, once the new rules are in place, he says, you can't be stubborn, can't be old school, can't ignore it. You got to go with the flow. And on the fly, too. We're going to officially be down to 105-man rosters, $20 million in revenue sharing per school. Everybody's still learning how that's going to be doled out. There'll be new parameters for everybody for college football. Nobody really knows what's going on. Well, we'll find out here pretty soon. And he says, as a coach, he used himself as an example. He's got a lot on his plate. First of all, he's getting ready for the season. That's normal. We did a whole podcast on Penn State a couple days ago. If you want to check it out on Locked On Big Ten, negotiating name, image, and likeness. Trying to get that done before the spring transfer portal, but also trying to understand the new revenue sharing rules and what that's all about. So literally says you got to be flexible because everybody's moving forward with all these new items and these new rules. And literally some of these rules are being made on the fly as you're coming up with deadlines for spring football and spring transfer portal. And you're trying to lure a kid and offer him this and offer him that. It's all happened like instantaneously. He said, by the way, something interesting. He said that he and the other coaches, they're all nervous about this 105 roster limit. Everybody's got to be on scholarship, and it's going to be limited to 105, and they think it's going to kill the walk-on program. Schools are going to have to actually cut players and walk-ons and get down to 105. And he says it doesn't sound like a big deal, 105. He says you need the 105. You need more. He points out that he lost 16 kids last year at Penn State due to injury, and they can't be replaced with somebody on a roster spot like in the NFL. And to those who suggest, hey, the NFL can operate on a 53-man roster, why can't college operate with a 105-man roster? It's the same sport. He points out that the NFL's 53-man roster, that's constantly getting juggled. A guy's gone, you can replace him with somebody else, pull somebody from somebody else's practice squad on another team. College, you can't do that. And he said he saw a study that the average NFL team uses about 111 players each season on its 53-man roster. That's how much juggling goes on. That's how many injuries you have. And all of a sudden, 105 men rosters in college football doesn't seem like enough. It's a little concern. Something to keep an eye on. One other note regarding the Nittany Lions and their spring camp. Y'all remember LaVar Arrington? If you're a little older, you probably do. Linebacker LaVar Arrington II. He's a freshman, and he's getting a lot of attention like his old man. and he looks like a man among boys out on the practice field. He's an early enrollee. He was a 3-star kid out of high school. It chose Penn State over Tennessee, UCLA, Oregon, and Michigan, just to name a few. His father, by the way, was an All-American linebacker for Penn State from 1997 to 1999, and he's in the College Football Hall of Fame. And in 1999, he was a unanimous All-American who won the Buckus Award and the Chuck Bednarik Award, and he was the number 2 overall pick in the 2000 draft by Washington. So interesting. And we'll see how the kid does, but he's getting a lot of attention there with Penn State on the defense. In yesterday's podcast, we shared some thoughts from Rutgers football coach Greg Schiano on the changing landscape of college football, the difference between the haves and the have-nots. And he was asked about the spring game at Rutgers, which is scheduled for April 26th. He loves having it. It's a great day for Rutgers and alumni, and it's a great event all around, and he hopes he can keep doing it. And we mentioned earlier that Nebraska canceled theirs. Minnesota and USC will not have one. Iowa modified theirs, and Ohio State said that they wouldn't have one, but then they changed their mind and said they will have one. So that's what's going on around the Big Ten with the spring and all the changes and people making decisions and stuff. So hopefully we get that trend where they're all doing the spring game. So on to basketball, right? We got 3 teams tonight, Friday, in the Big Ten, in action, part of the Sweet 16. Number 2 seed Michigan State is taking on Ole Miss. That's just after 7 o'clock on CBS. And we've talked about Tom Izzo, 70 years old, his 16th Sweet 16 at Michigan State. He's rolling. We'll see how he does tonight. They are slight favorites in that game. Dusty May and Michigan are in action in 9:30, 9:39, probably later than that, closer to 10 o'clock game on CBS. Going against Auburn, Bruce Pearl. This is a big matchup. Auburn a big favorite in that one. And then the Purdue Boilermakers, who made it the runner-ups last year in the NCAA tournament. Now here they are in the Sweet 16 trying to get to the Elite 8. They're going to have to get past Calvin Sampson's Houston team, which is a great defensive team. Look, if Purdue can hit shots and shoot over the Houston defense, I think Purdue has a chance. If they can't, if they're cold from the perimeter, I think it's going to be a problem because Houston's defense is excellent. Like, it's elite. The game is in Indianapolis, though, at Lucas Oil Stadium. That's about an hour and a half from West Lafayette. This is a home court advantage for Purdue. At the beginning of that, if they win this game, play in the Elite 8 game on Sunday with a chance to get to the Final Four in front of a home crowd, could be a big advantage for the Purdue Boilermakers. Houston, a 7.5-point favorite in that game. And then the women get back into action with their Sweet 16. We got Maryland facing the defending champion South Carolina, and top seed UCLA facing Ole Miss this weekend. And, of course, USC without Juju Watkins. They'll play Kansas State on Saturday night. Anyway, those are the games. I'm going to pick most of those games coming up in a minute because that's what we do on Fridays. If you are new to our podcast, we always like to close out with some features every Monday, for example. We do our top 10 Big Ten observations from all around the Big Ten by me. Share them with you, match them with yours. Tuesday, we do Tuesday tweets. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. And if you tweet something cool, I'll put it on the podcast, on the program on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we like to power rank something. It's always our standings, helmets, uniforms. We always do it. And then Thursday, we take a look at the Big Ten Network and what they've got coming up on the weekend. We highlight some things, Big Ten classics, and what games they have live that are of interest to us. And then we make our picks going into the weekend on a Friday. So we're always on the record. We're bold that way. We'll do that in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. You know, daylight savings snuck up on a lot of people. Extra daylight in the day, more to do, but maybe you've lost an hour of sleep. Your body hasn't caught back up yet. 5-hour energy is how you can get your energy back. And whether it's more sunshine or more fun, more chores, more work, sometimes you need a little boost to get through the rest of the day. So whether you're staying up late watching college basketball or getting in an extra round of golf, Trying to stay busy, whatever you're doing, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it for whatever you're doing. Outstanding flavors out there. Got some tropical burst, a bunch of flavors. You can get like 15 flavors, mix and match all of them. So you can check out. They're great for traveling, sitting there driving by yourself and the road's getting a little blurry-eyed. Get a little 5 Hour Energy, give you some energy and stay refreshed. Head to 5hourenergy.com and find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. And you can even build your own 12 or 24 pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot of it right now at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy. And today's program is brought to you by Epicore. Every team knows the value of hard work and taking pride in what you build and practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone, right? Working together makes getting the win easier. And at Epicore, the All-Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Just a wide range of stuff. Epicore ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. Seeing your whole supply chain is easier. Managing logistics is easier. Responding to price changes is easier. From small business with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision, will equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hard-working minute you have. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier takes the lead. Discover your success at www.easierwithepicor.com. That's www.easierwithepicor.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, as we continue here on Locked On Big Ten, I want to take a look at some of these games, men's and women's basketball games, and make some picks. Let's go on the record with the point spreads and everything we got going on. We'll put it full screen. If you're one of our audio-only listeners, we'll describe them. We just got a graphic here. We got 4 games here, men's games, and these are even games. These are all tonight, Friday night's games, and some of them are not Big Ten games. But I got Mississippi taking on Michigan State. Michigan State's a 3.5-point favorite. I actually like the Spartans in this one in a close game. I think they win. I think they cover. Tom Izzo in March, he is focused. He's got this team focused. He is ready to go. We'll step outside of the Big Ten and an SEC matchup between Kentucky and Tennessee. Tennessee, a 4.5-point favorite. I like the balls here. Like the favorites so far. I do like Tennessee. Meanwhile, back to a Big Ten game with Michigan and Auburn. Auburn is a 9.5-point favorite in this game. I do think the season ends for Michigan here. I think Auburn is the better team. I'm not so sure about the 9.5 points, so give me Michigan with the points, but Auburn probably wins this game. Same thing with Purdue and Houston. 8.5-point favorites, Houston. Purdue, again, it depends on how their shots fall against that tough Houston defense. I like this to be a closer game. Houston, I think, still wins. Purdue keeps it close. The over-under is 132.5. I actually like the under in this one. I do like a little bit of a defensive battle. So there you have it on that. And we'll switch the screen, look at the women's games this weekend. Maryland at South Carolina, and South Carolina is a huge 17.5-point favorite. We've had a lot of blowouts in women's basketball. But as we get further along, these games will start to get closer and a little more evenly matched. I think Maryland may hang a little bit inside of the 17.5, but I do think South Carolina wins. UCLA, an 8.5-point favorite over Mississippi. I do like the Bruins to win and cover. And USC, look at that, 1.5 favorite over Kansas State. Without Juju Watkins there, this is why there's still a small point spread. I still think USC wins. I still think they cover. It's still a pretty good basketball team, even though Juju is a huge part, and they'll feel the loss at some point. But I like the Trojans to still win this game. There I have it. Picks are on the record. What do you think? Let me know. Love to hear your comments in the comment section. And there are many ways for you to interact with us, especially throughout the weekend here while you're watching basketball. Don't forget on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten number 10. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. That's with the number 10, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there, as well as your opportunity to link up and buy some merchandise from your favorite school from the Big Ten. No matter what you do, please be sure to subscribe for free so you never miss a single episode. And don't forget, you early morning commuters out there, our audio-only podcasts are released 2 hours earlier than the video. Get a jump on it if you want. If you're on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, again, 2 hours earlier with that in the morning. But video and audio, they're out every morning, every day. So we look forward to having you join us there. Take a moment, go back and check out yesterday's. If you missed it, the day before, we're here every day, all things, all 18 Big Ten teams. We'll cover them all here on this podcast, plus news, plus opinion, plus analysis, all under one umbrella. This is the only podcast in America that does all of that. So check it out. In the meantime, don't forget our friends at Locked On College Basketball with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. It's March. It's college basketball. They're in their wheelhouse right now, so check them out as well. Locked On College Basketball. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the games. We'll be back Monday with the latest spring football news around the Big Ten, and we will know how many Big Ten teams we have that made it through the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, and are now on to the Final Four in San Antonio. And we'll be all over it right here. Thanks for checking us out. Have yourself a great weekend. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll talk to you next time.